The old Nelson County Jail in Bardstown, Kentucky, housed prisoners from 1797 until 1987. The front of the building, referred to as the Old Jail, was constructed in 1819. Records indicate that Joseph Rogers, architect of St. Joseph Cathedral, performed certain carpentry on this structure. The upper floor of this native limestone building has 30-inch thick walls, contained 2 cells, and an upstairs dungeon to house prisoners. The back jail was built in 1874 and is completely surrounded by a limestone stone wall. The front jail was then made into the jailer's residence. Both the jail and the jailer's residence were used and occupied until 1987. It was the oldest operating jail complex in the state of Kentucky and is listed on the National Registry of Historic Places. C. Paul McCoy has been running the Jailer's Inn since 1995. The family originally started the bed and breakfast in 1989. Paul and Kim have been enjoying the experience of jail life and the memories made with his guests that he often refers to as his inmates. But something sinister is said to roam the bed and breakfast halls. According to the legends, some of the jail's former employees and incarcerated souls still reside inside. Visitors have reported hearing eerie footsteps and muted whispers while staying at the inn. Originally, the jailer's office was on the first floor and the prisoners stayed on the second floor until 1874, when the county built an extension on the back and added a tall stone fence and gallows for hanging the convicted. Once they moved the prisoners to the back of the building, the jailer and his family lived in the front part of the jail. The 2 most notable rooms are the 1819 room at the top of the stairs on the second floor, referred to as the dungeon. At one time, this room was dark with thick hand-hewn timber all along the walls and ceiling, with no windows to let the light in. This is the room where the jailer would shackle the criminals who had committed the most heinous crimes. At one time, the only way to get to the room was to put a ladder up on the side of the building and corral the men up through a window. Then they were chained to the walls in this dark room. The window was closed off by another door to create a secure hold with no escapes. In a 1909 newspaper article on microfiche at the local library, it stated that the jail was haunted. The story stated that the inmates would complain about ghosts waking them up at night from loud banging, screams, and the sound of chains dragging across the floor. In 1885, there is a tragic story about an arrest of Martin Hill. He was a local drunk that beat his wife badly. One night, Martin came home in a drunken rage and grabbed his wife to start another brutal beating, which usually included broken arms or ribs. But this time, she was able to get away from his grip, ran to the local farmer's house where she tried to hide from Mr. Martin. The local neighbor pleaded with Martin to please go home and sleep it off, and his wife would return in the morning. At this time, Martin was standing in the front yard, swearing and waving his rifle that if she did not come out, he would kill everyone there. Before he could cause any more ruckus, Martin's wife stepped out onto the porch where she tried to plead with him. But at that moment, as soon as he saw her, he lifted his rifle and killed her. While awaiting his trial, Martin became very ill and the jailer had to send for the doctor. The doctor could not find anything wrong. Martin said his head was hurting so bad, his arms ached, and it hurt for him to take a breath. A few days later, Martin had to be strapped to his bunk because he was growling and cursing and screaming in pain. During the night, Martin passed away. The doctor stated he had never seen anyone die in such horrific pain before. It has been reported that in the early morning hours, you can still hear the cries of Martin Hill in pain and agony. They say he is feeling what his wife felt as he beat her daily. There are also reports of EVPs of children and their faces in photos, and also seeing their apparitions. Why would there be spirits of children, you might ask? Well, when the jailers and their families lived there from 1874 until 1987, many children were born and died there. Now I'm going to add a video from last year when we stayed at the Talbert Tavern as we filmed the outside of the jail at night. I'm going to take you down the dark alley beside it.
Starting right here, this is the court.
They got their trash out here.
Yeah, this is the courtyard. Starting here, this from here down is the courtyard for the old county jail. Here is also had a gallows in it. So if you were found guilty at the courtyard across the street from the old Talbert Tavern, you would come over here and stay in a cell, which is an upcoming video that we're going to stay in, and you would stay there for, not like in the old days, not like nowadays, 20, 30 years. You would stay there 2 to 3 days before you were hung in the courtyard for your crime that you committed. So it was hard. I mean, it wasn't playing around back then. It was, if you were found guilty of murder or something, you were hung in this courtyard, and there was hundreds and hundreds of people hung.
You can see the stone wall up there. Can you see in there?
Yeah, just looking, maybe you can show the viewers in there. Just looking in there is so eerie.
That's inside behind the county jail. And then you come over here to a cemetery back here that you wouldn't even know was back here.
Yeah, this is a hidden cemetery.
We're headed our way back up this alley again on the side of the old county jail.
Kind of give you a little glimpse inside right here. See the bars on the door, you know.
Wayne looks like he's having too much fun there. I might leave him there tonight.
They put you in there, guys. You're in here. What's that like you down? You're in there. It's no joke, dude.
Alright, well, we'll just leave him here for tonight.
Nah, I'm coming home. I'm coming to our bed. But they didn't mess around in the old days. I mean, they would hang your ass in a heartbeat, to be honest with you.
Right. They said that back there, where they...
Oh, yeah.
At the bed and breakfast there where you actually sit and eat, they actually hung them in that yard.
Yeah, they hung them in that yard. I mean, they had a gallows set up there. But we're going back to the Talbert Tavern. We've got our key to the front door. Beautiful place. Super nice people.
Now, the courtyard offers a private, sunny garden where you can sit and relax while listening to the birds or the breezes blowing through the trees. It is the perfect place to be incarcerated after being found guilty of having so much fun and relaxation. But we thank you guys for watching, and until next time, guys, let's see what's out there.